Kia ushered in a new performance era when it introduced the Stinger sports sedan for the 2018 model year. Now back then, that car really changed a lot of enthusiasts' perspective of Kia in order to start taking them seriously as a performance brand. Now 4 years was obviously a long time, so for 2022, Kia is making several changes to the Stinger in order to keep it competitive. Some of the changes include more power underneath the hood, refreshed styling on the inside and out, and of course more premium touches and technology on the interior. So let's take a first look. Now back in late 2017, I was at the original launch for the Stinger in California, and it was a car that I was really excited to drive. In fact, it was the best new car that I drove in 2017, easily making it to my top 10 list of favorite cars that I drove earlier that year. So obviously the sports sedan segment continues to evolve and change. And for those of you who have always wanted a German luxury sports sedan or a hatch that looks like a sedan, the Stinger has always been that really appealing alternative. It, of course, and its platform mate, the Genesis G70, they both ride on the same platform. But I've always preferred the Stinger because it offers more interior space and significantly more trunk space. So let's dive into the changes, of course, that Kia has made for the 2022 model year on the outside. Now starting at the front end, I've already thought the Stinger was a very attractive looking vehicle, so the company didn't need to make too many changes for this refresh to make the car even more appealing. Of course, we have the signature shape at the front with the tiger nose grille. Kia has addressed some of the design elements with new headlights. Of course, you can still take your pick between the GT line, which is the base version, a GT1 and a GT2 trim. The GT line, you can see, has a new style to the headlights. You have these new LED daytime running lights, which have a new signature design theme. The GT1 and GT2 will have upgraded headlights with adaptive swiveling capabilities and a different design to the LED daytime running light, and you also get LED turn signals. The GT model will also have a slightly unique finish on the grille and slightly larger grille opening. So clearly you didn't really need to make too many changes, but the big change that's going to stand out, of course, is the new Kia logo that you find on the nose of that front fascia. It's the new corporate design logo that we first saw on the Kia Carnival, and I'm still kind of impartial to the look. I need to see it in person on an actual vehicle before I, talk about my final judgments of it. But regardless, I do think it is an improvement over the current Kia logo or the old Kia logo. It just kind of looks like a KN from certain angles as opposed to a KIA, which is how you spell Kia. Now moving around the side profile, let's look at the new wheel options. The Stinger will still be offered in 18 and 19-inch wheel designs. Kia has redesigned the spokes to resemble kind of a geometric shape, which is kind of what Hyundai is doing with their new design language. On the GT line, I'm not really the biggest fan of the wheels. They have a little bit too many spokes for me, but I love the new wheels that you find on the GT models. These are, of course, the 19-inch wheels. They are an upgraded 5-spoke design that we saw on the pre-refresh models. Of course, with the GT, you also get larger Brembo 4-pot brakes that are painted red for the calipers, and the suspension has been stiffened and lowered slightly to give the GT, again, a more performance-oriented look. Now looking at the rear of the refreshed Stinger, this is where I've always preferred the front end of the pre-refreshed model. And you can see Kia has made some updates to the rear end for 2022. You still have the Stinger logo that's spelled out at the back. Kia did make that change back in 2019 where they got rid of the Kia badge. And there are obviously refreshed taillights with a new design that kind of connects the two taillight modules together. All Stingers will come with LED taillights. However, the GT models will include LED turn signals, whereas the GT line will have incandescent turn signals. You also have a slightly refreshed rear lower diffuser with new quad outlet exhaust tips, which are slightly larger. They look a little bit different on the GT line versus the GT. The GT is going to introduce a new active sport exhaust, which Kia says should improve the sound of this car significantly, which was one of my main complaints with the pre-refresh Stinger. I thought the V6 sounded okay, but it didn't have the cracks and pops and bangs that I expected from a performance car, so I'm hoping that the upgraded sport exhaust this year should change that. Now under the hood of the new Stinger, of course, we have more power this year, and that's really where a lot of enthusiasts are going to be pleased to hear, because the base 2-liter turbo in the GT line has been replaced by the new 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that we first saw, of course, in the new Sorento, and it's also under the hood of the Kia K5 GT. In the Stinger, it makes a nice even 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. That represents a 45 horsepower increase over the base 2-liter turbo, which made 255 horsepower horsepower. Kia also says performance has improved. You should now expect 0 to 60 times in 5.2 seconds. Versus 5.9 for the 2-liter turbo, and you can still take your choice between either rear or their company's torque vectoring all-wheel drive system. The standard and only transmission is an 8-speed torque converter automatic. This is the same transmission, of course, that we find in the Genesis models. You don't find Kia's dual clutch in this car because the Stinger is, remember, a rear drive car. The dual clutch is specified for a front drive platform like the Kia K5 and the Kia Sorento. Now, of course, if you guys want more power, the GT continues to offer the 3.3-liter twin turbocharged V6. So Kia did not move to the 3.5-liter twin turbo that we find in Genesis models, but they did up the power slightly, and I suspect that's to the new active exhaust because we now have 368 horsepower, a 3 horsepower bump, which is akin to a performance exhaust. It basically allows the engine to breathe better. Still making the same 376 pound-feet of torque, an 8-speed automatic, torque converter automatic that is a Kia design is the only transmission, and of course you can take your pick between either rear or torque vectoring all-wheel drive. The rear drive models will come with a limited slip differential, which again builds on Kia's performance credentials for enthusiasts because this allows you to do some tail outs, power slides, and drifting in the Stinger, and that's something that I've always really liked about this car. Now the V6 version should get to 60 in around 4.7 seconds, which is slightly conservative. It should be closer to the 4.5 second range, so it's not quite as quick as a lot of its German competitors, but for the performance and the price, you can't really argue with what the Stinger has to offer. So now let's move on to the interior of the refreshed Stinger. Now clearly the dash design hasn't changed, but the thing that's going to stick out the most is the new 10.25-inch UVO infotainment system. This is a touchscreen. It's now a widescreen display. It's a huge improvement over the old 7 and 8-inch screens, which were definitely starting to look on the smaller side. They looked a little bit small when the car first came out, and now it just looks a lot more modern, a lot more crisp. And I really like the design layout of the interior. You still have the signature 3 circular vents in the center stack. Kia says they've added a little bit more aluminum trim and piano black accents to give the cabin a more premium feel. And on the GT versions, you get a premium Napa leather, which has a seat pattern design which is supposed to resemble the chain links that you find on some high-end watches, which I think looks pretty cool. The seats are still heated and ventilated on the higher trims. And I still like the electronic shift you get on the higher end models, along with, of course, that flat bottom wheel, which flanks the new Kia logo at the center of that steering wheel, which again, I'm still impartial to the look, but you can't really argue with just the overall feel of the cabin. The Stinger's always had a premium cabin, which is a little bit roomier than most of its competitors. You obviously get the Kia DriveWise package. They added a little bit more standard equipment like lane keeping assist and blind spot monitoring this year. And in the instrument panel, there's a new larger 4.2-inch LCD helper screen or an optional 7-inch display, which does house the blind view radar camera system. Whenever you signal right or left, it'll show you exactly what's in your blind spot. So that is a new feature this year. It's really going to, again, up the safety feature and the premium luxury feel of the Stinger, which doesn't surprise me because remember, Kia has discontinued the K900 and the Cadenza for 2021. So the Stinger now moves forward as the flagship sedan within the Kia lineup, and I think it should have no problems, continuing to uphold that torch for Kia. Because this new Stinger really does check a lot of boxes for me. And if you guys are wondering, when can you buy the new Stinger? It actually is already heading to dealers right now. You may actually be able to find a few on dealer lots today. However, Kia surprisingly has not announced final pricing yet for this car. The current Stinger starts at around $33,000 for the base GT line. Add around $6,000 if you guys want to go for the GT version, so it's coming in at just under $40,000. Keep in mind, fully loaded GT2 versions with all-wheel drive are going to sticker for around $54,000, so I suspect this refresh model should be around the same price, maybe slightly more expensive. And spending over $50,000 on a Kia Stinger does sound like a crazy proposition for some people. However, keep in mind, for the performance and luxury and room that this car offers, it undercuts its German competitors by as much as $15,000 to $20,000 fully loaded. So the Stinger still represents a strong value quotient. It is still one of the most fun to drive vehicles you can get. It also comes with a killer warranty. So I suspect for those of you who are enthusiasts who've always wanted a Stinger, now is the time to pull the trigger on one because Kia has made it even better for 2022. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full first look overview on the 2022 Kia Stinger. I should be driving this car later this year. Kia says it will be heading into the press fleet soon. But if you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook. And as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.